A deafening silence filled the grand chamber of the Galactic Council as Ambassador Sarah Chen's footsteps echoed across the crystalline floor. The massive amphitheater, designed to humble visitors with its scale, housed representatives from over 300 species. Today, every seat was occupied, every eye fixed on the lone human figure approaching the central podium. The council had never seen a human diplomat wear combat armor to a session. The sleek, graphene-reinforced suit beneath Chen's formal robes sent an unmistakable message: humanity was done with pleasantries. High Counselor Vexthor, his translucent tentacles rippling with bioluminescent patterns of concern, leaned forward. Ambassador Chen, the Council recognizes Earth's request for emergency session. However, we must express our discomfort with your chosen attire. Chen's dark eyes swept across the chamber, taking in the varied forms of the galaxy's most powerful species. My attire reflects humanity's current reality, High Counselor. While we speak here, the Crossan Empire launches its 7th attack on our outer colonies this month. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. A Crossan representative, their crystalline form glinting under the chamber's lights, rose sharply. These are baseless accusations. We operate within established territorial rights. Territorial rights? Chen's voice carried no anger, only a dangerous calm that made several empathic species shift uncomfortably in their seats. Let's discuss the meaning of territory when your warships are glassing civilian settlements. She raised her hand, and a holographic display materialized above the chamber's center. The footage was crystal clear: Crossan warships systematically destroying human settlements on Novus Prime. The timestamp showed it was happening right now. This isn't a petition for help, Chen continued, her voice steady. This is a courtesy notice. Humanity has exercised patience. We've followed your protocols. We've submitted to your inspections. We've even limited our military presence to avoid causing concern. She paused, letting the implications sink in. That ends today. High Counselor Vexthor's tentacles paled. Ambassador, surely we can reach a diplomatic solution. The Council has maintained peace for 3 millennia through careful mediation and dash. Peace? Chen interrupted, triggering gasps from species who considered interruption a physical assault. Tell that to the families watching their homes burn. Your peace has been built on the assumption that younger species will accept their place and suffer in silence. The Archivist, an ancient machine intelligence representing the Council's historical records, hummed to life. Statistical analysis indicates human responses to aggression have been notably restrained compared to historical patterns of emerging species. Restrained? The Crossan representative's crystalline form vibrated with indignation. They've destroyed 3 of our advanced bases. After you used those same bases to launch attacks on civilian targets, Chen countered. What you're interpreting as restraint has been patience. Humanity wanted to prove we could be diplomatic, that we could play by your rules. Her expression hardened. But you've mistaken our patience for weakness. She touched a control on her wrist, and new holographic data filled the chamber. The council chamber erupted in chaos as representatives recognized military staging points, fleet movements, and technological specifications that none of their intelligence services had detected. Impossible. The Crossan representative's crystalline form crackled with stress patterns. Our sensors would have detected such buildups. Would they? Chen's smile didn't reach her eyes. Humanity has a long history of preparing for the worst while hoping for the best. You've been scanning for what you expect to find, using technology you understand. We let you see exactly what we wanted you to see. The Archivist's processors whirred as it processed the new data. Update: human technological capability significantly exceeds previous assessments. Recommended status: immediate reclassification. High Counselor Vexthor's tentacles had gone almost white. Ambassador Chen, are you suggesting that Earth has been concealing its true capabilities? We're revealing them now as a courtesy, Chen replied. A reminder that humanity's cooperation with the Council was a choice, not a necessity. We chose peace until you proved peace wasn't an option. She turned to address the entire chamber. Humanity is activating its defense grid. Any hostile vessels entering human space will be considered military targets. Any species harboring or supporting attacks on human settlements will face immediate response. Her voice softened slightly. Those who have stood by us, traded fairly with us, and respected our sovereignty have nothing to fear. The chamber erupted in overlapping voices, demands for clarification, and urgent communications to home worlds. Chen stood calmly at the center of the storm, a living embodiment of humanity's new stance. This session isn't a negotiation, she concluded. It's an announcement. Humanity has reached its breaking point. What happens next depends entirely on how the galaxy chooses to respond. As she turned to leave, the archivist's voice cut through the chaos. Historical notation: this marks the first time in Council history that a species has revealed significant technological superiority without immediate military aggression. Fascinating. Chen paused at the chamber's entrance, looking back one final time. We're not interested in dominance, High Counselor. We're interested in justice. Humanity remembers its friends, and its enemies. Choose wisely. The chamber doors sealed behind her with a resounding thud, leaving the Galactic Council to face a fundamental truth: they had catastrophically misunderstood humanity's capacity for both patience and action. As emergency signals lit up across the galaxy, one thing became devastatingly clear: the era of dismissing humanity as a young, naive species was over. The breaking point had been reached, and the galaxy would never be the same. Admiral Marcus Wong stood on the bridge of the EDF Prometheus, his weathered face illuminated by the holographic displays showing the approaching Crossan battle fleet. This was the moment humanity had prepared for across decades of apparent submission to Galactic Council oversight. They've taken the bait, his XO, Commander Diana Rivera, reported. Crossan fleet emerging from FTL exactly where we predicted. 37 capital ships, over 200 support vessels. Wong nodded, his calm demeanor masking the weight of what was about to unfold. The Crossans had launched their retaliatory strike just as Earth's behavioral analysis had predicted, a massive show of force aimed at humanity's apparent stronghold in the Arcturus system. Status of the quantum net, he asked, though he already knew the answer. Everything had been in place for years, waiting for this moment. Fully operational, sir. All nodes synchronized. The Crossans are completely inside the field. Around them, the bridge crew worked with practiced precision. There were no nervous glances, no signs of fear. They had drilled for this countless times, preparing for the day when humanity would finally show its hand. Their ships are launching the standard warning broadcast, Rivera reported. Demanding our immediate surrender and submission to Crossan authority. Wong allowed himself a small smile. Send them our response. Throughout the Crossan fleet, command screens lit up with a simple message in their native crystalline script: look up. The Crossan admiral did look up, just in time to see space itself seem to tear open. The quantum net, humanity's greatest technological achievement, deactivated its stealth protocols. In an instant, the Crossan fleet found itself surrounded by over 300 human vessels that had been there all along, hidden in artificial pockets of warped spacetime. By the first crystal. The Crossan admiral's voice echoed across the open channel. This is impossible. Our scans showed nothing. That's because you were looking with technology we let you see, Wong replied calmly. While the galaxy thought we were struggling to catch up, humanity took a different path. We didn't try to copy your tech, we transcended it. The quantum net pulsed, and every Crossan weapon system went dark. Their shields flickered and died, their engines sputtered to a halt. Years of studying their technology had given humanity every advantage they needed. This is your only warning, Wong continued. Your empire has attacked our colonies, killed our civilians, and dismissed our attempts at peace. But unlike you, we don't target civilian populations. Every one of your ships still has full life support and emergency power. You have 30 minutes to evacuate your crews to designated safety zones. After that, your fleet will be dismantled." Panic erupted across the Crossan command channel as they realized the full extent of their vulnerability. Their mighty fleet, pride of their empire, hung helpless in space. "You can't do this," the Crossan admiral raged. "The Council will never allow dash." "The Council," Wong interrupted, "is currently watching this encounter along with every other major species in the galaxy. We're broadcasting it live." Indeed, across the galaxy, billions of beings watched in stunned silence as humanity revealed just how far ahead they had leaped while playing the role of technological underdog. In the council chamber, Ambassador Chen stood before the assembled representatives once again. "As you can see, humanity's patience shouldn't have been mistaken for weakness. We've spent years building defensive capabilities that your sensors couldn't detect, studying technologies you thought we couldn't understand." The archivist's voice echoed through the chamber. "Analysis complete. Human technological advancement appears to have followed an entirely different path than standard galactic development. They did not climb the expected technological ladder, they built their own." The evacuation of the Crossan fleet proceeded with mechanical precision. Human ships maintained their positions, weapons armed but unfired. It was a display not just of power, but of restraint. Back on the Prometheus, Commander Rivera watched the evacuation numbers climb. "Sir, do you think they understand yet?" Wong's eyes remained fixed on the tactical display. "They're beginning to. Humanity didn't want this fight, but we made damn sure we were ready for it." As the last Crossan escape pod reached the safety zone, Wong gave the order. The quantum net pulsed once more, and the entire Crossan fleet began to disintegrate, not through weapons fire, but through precise molecular deconstruction. In less than 5 minutes, one of the galaxy's most powerful battle fleets had been reduced to its base components. "Send word to all human settlements," Wong ordered. "Operation Awakening is complete. Activate all defense grids. It's time to show the galaxy exactly what they've been ignoring." Across human space, hidden quantum arrays shimmed into visibility. Defensive systems that had been masked for years revealed themselves. The message was clear: humanity's territories were now formally under the protection of technologies that most species hadn't even theorized possible. In the council chamber, the Crossan representative's crystalline form had gone almost transparent with shock. You could have done this at any time." "We could have," Chen confirmed. "But humanity believed in giving peace every possible chance. That chance has now been exhausted." The High Counselor's tentacles writhed in agitation. "The balance of power, the entire structure of galactic society, will need to be reconsidered," Chen finished. "Not because humanity demands it, but because you left us no choice but to show you why underestimating us was a mistake." As the news spread across the galaxy, species after species began to reevaluate their understanding of humanity. They had expected a young race struggling to catch up. Instead, they found one that had quietly surpassed them all, choosing restraint until restraint was no longer an option. The awakening had begun, and with it, the galaxy's understanding of humanity would never be the same. The Great Archive, a massive data complex that served as the galaxy's historical repository, was in chaos. The archivist's quantum processors worked at unprecedented speeds, analyzing centuries of human history that had suddenly become accessible. What they found sent shockwaves through the galactic community. "I believe I understand now," the archivist announced to the emergency session of the council. Its holographic form flickered with intensity as it projected historical footage of Earth's wars, technological leaps, and recoveries from near-extinction events. Humanity's development was not despite their conflicts, but because of them. Dr. Maya Patel, Earth's chief xenohistorian, stood calmly before the council. Unlike Ambassador Chen's previous appearance, her presence was requested, demanded, really, by species desperate to understand what they had missed. Every time humanity faced extinction, she explained, we didn't just survive. We evolved. We adapted. Where other species sought stability, we thrived on change. The Meridian representative, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline matrix, pulsed with concern. The quantum technology you revealed, it bears no resemblance to any known development path. Because we stopped following your path the moment we realized it was being used to contain us, Patel replied. While you watched our standard tech development, our quantum research facilities were operating in dimensionally shifted spacetime. You couldn't find them because you didn't know where to look. Across the galaxy, alliances were rapidly shifting. The Crossan Empire's humiliation had created a power vacuum, and various species were scrambling to position themselves in the new order. The Altaïran Collective, known for their biological technology, was the first to formally recognize humanity's new status. Their ambassador, a towering figure of bioluminescent tissue, approached Dr. Patel after the session. We have watched, they pulsed in patterns of blue and gold. While others saw weakness in your restraint, we saw wisdom. The collective offers alliance. Similar offers were pouring in from across the galaxy, but humanity's response remained measured. Admiral Wong, now coordinating with diplomatic forces, had established clear criteria for any future partnerships. We're not interested in dominance, he explained to his staff aboard the Prometheus. But we'll no longer accept relationships based on assumed inequality. The quantum net had revealed more than just humanity's technological advancement. It showed a level of cooperation and unity that many species had thought impossible for such a supposedly fractious race. In the Centauri sector, Commander Rivera was overseeing the integration of alien observers into human defense operations, a gesture of transparency to allied species. She watched as representatives from 15 different civilizations tried to comprehend the scope of human innovation. Your quantum communications network, a Tellarite scientist marveled, their crystalline appendages trembling with excitement. It doesn't just transmit data, it exists in multiple dimensional states simultaneously. Because we learned early on that single-point systems are vulnerable, Rivera explained. Humanity's strength isn't in our technology, it's in how we think about problems. The archivist's ongoing analysis was revealing patterns that shook the foundations of galactic society. Footage from Earth's history showed countless examples of humans facing overwhelming odds, adapting, and emerging stronger. Query, the archivist announced during another council session. Why did humanity not share these capabilities earlier? Analysis suggests technological superiority existed for minimum of 15 standard years. Ambassador Chen, who had joined the session remotely, answered with characteristic directness. Because we needed to be certain about who we could trust. Every time humanity extended a hand in friendship, we documented the response. Every time we asked for help, we noted who ignored us. Every time we were attacked, we remembered who stayed silent. The implications sent ripples of unease through the council. Humanity hadn't just been developing technology, they had been conducting a massive sociological study of galactic society. In deep space, beyond the quantum net's public boundary, Dr. Victor Santos led a team of xenotechnologists in revealing another truth to selected allies. In a specially constructed facility, he demonstrated the true extent of human advancement. What you've seen, he told the assembled representatives, is only our defensive capability. We developed that first because protection was our priority. But our understanding of quantum mechanics goes far deeper. He activated a sequence that caused the entire facility to shift partially out of normal spacetime. The assembled aliens watched in awe as human scientists manipulated the fundamental forces of the universe with casual ease. By your standard models, this should be impossible, Santos continued. But humanity learned long ago that impossible is just a word for something we don't understand yet. The archivist's final analysis sent one last shockwave through galactic society. Conclusion: humanity's greatest advancement was not technological. Their primary evolution was psychological. They developed technology that could have dominated the galaxy, then chose not to use it until forced. This level of species-wide restraint is unprecedented in galactic history. The lines have been drawn. Some species, like the Altaïran Collective, embraced the new reality and sought genuine partnership. Others, following the Crossan Empire's lead, retreated into angry isolation. But all of them understood one fundamental truth: humanity had not just reached their breaking point, they had transcended it. As Dr. Patel concluded her final presentation to the Council, she left them with a thought that would echo through the ages: humanity's greatest weapon was never our technology. It was our ability to imagine a better future, even while preparing for the worst. We're not interested in ruling the galaxy, we're interested in helping it grow up. The galaxy was changing, and the lines being drawn would reshape civilization itself. But this time, humanity would not be watching from the sidelines. They would be helping to draw the map. The Centauri Gateway blazed with energy as reality itself seemed to tear apart. What had begun as a Crossan last stand had evolved into something far more dangerous, a coalition of species who viewed humanity's rise as an existential threat to their dominance. Admiral Wong stood at his command station aboard the Prometheus, watching as enemy ships poured through the gateway. The coalition had somehow modified the ancient gateway's quantum structure, turning it into a massive force multiplier for their fleet. 600 hostile vessels and counting, Commander Rivera reported, her voice steady despite the odds. They've adapted their shields to resist our quantum disruption. Someone's been helping them understand our technology. Wong nodded grimly. The Nix Confederation. Their quantum theorists are brilliant, even if their leadership is short-sighted. He turned to face the tactical display. Initiate Protocol Omega. It's time to show them why understanding our technology isn't the same as understanding humanity. Across human space, a new kind of quantum field activated. Unlike the defensive nets they'd revealed earlier, this was something entirely different. The human fleet, seemingly outnumbered and outgunned, began to move with impossible precision. On the Coalition's command ship, Supreme Commander Vexthal of the Crossan Empire watched in growing unease as the human vessels executed maneuvers that should have been physically impossible. Their ships, his tactical officer reported, crystalline form vibrating with stress. They're predicting our movements before we make them. Impossible. Vexthal snarled. We randomized our attack pattern specifically to counter their quantum predictions. Deep within the Prometheus, in a specially shielded chamber, Dr. Emily Chen, Ambassador Chen's sister, sat within a web of quantum interfaces. Around her, 50 other humans were similarly connected, their minds linked through technology that the galaxy had never seen before. The human mind, she had explained to Admiral Wong years ago, isn't limited to three-dimensional thinking. When properly connected and supported, we can perceive and process multiple dimensional states simultaneously. We just needed the right interface to unlock that potential. The battle unfolded like a dance, but one where only the humans knew all the steps. Every coalition move was met before it began. Every strategy was countered before it could fully form. The human ships moved as one organism, guided by the combined consciousness of their quantum-linked crews. In the council chamber, the archivist was processing the battle data in real time. Analysis: human neural quantum integration represents unprecedented evolutionary leap. They have merged biological consciousness with quantum computational capability. Ambassador Chen, watching alongside the council representatives, finally revealed the full scope of humanity's advancement. We didn't just develop new technology. We evolved to use it. Every human ship out there is guided by crews who can perceive quantum possibilities as naturally as you see light and shadow. The coalition fleet's formation began to break as they realized the full implications of what they were facing. It wasn't just superior technology or tactics, they were fighting an enemy that could literally see every possible future of the battle simultaneously. Commander Rivera's voice cut through the chaos of battle. Sir, they're attempting to overload the gateway. If they succeed, the quantum backlash will devastate this entire sector. Wong's response was immediate. Dr. Chen, can your team handle a full gateway integration? In the quantum chamber, Emily Chen's consciousness expanded through the neural network. Ready, Admiral. But they need to know what this will cost them. Wong opened a channel to the coalition fleet. Your attempt to overload the gateway ends here. You believed understanding our technology would be enough. You forgot to ask why we developed it in the first place. The human fleet moved as one, forming a precise geometric pattern around the gateway. Energy began to flow between the ships, creating a visible web of quantum connections. In the neural interface chamber, 50 human minds reached out to touch the fabric of spacetime itself. What happened next would be debated in scientific circles for centuries. The gateway's overload reached critical mass, releasing enough energy to destroy a solar system. But instead of expanding outward, the energy curved in on itself, contained and redirected by the human fleet's quantum web. Through their neural links, the human crews could be heard speaking in unison. We learned to manipulate quantum reality not because we wanted power, but because we needed to survive. Every human advancement, every technological leap, came from our refusal to accept limitations. The gateway's energy, rather than destroying everything around it, collapsed inward. In an instant, the massive structure transformed, its ancient technology completely rewritten by human quantum manipulation. The coalition fleet found themselves trapped in a quantum stasis field, their ships frozen in space and time. On their command ships, screens displayed a simple message: choice, surrender and learn, or maintain hostility and remain here until you understand why that's not an option. Supreme Commander Vexthal, watching his mighty fleet rendered helpless, finally understood the truth that humanity had been trying to teach the galaxy. Power wasn't about destruction, it was about having the capability for destruction and choosing a better path. One by one, the coalition ships signaled their surrender. As the stasis field dissolved, Admiral Wong sent a final message: remember this day. Not because of what we could have done, but because of what we chose to do instead. The battle for the Centauri Gateway marked the end of organized resistance to human influence in the galaxy. But more importantly, it marked the beginning of a new understanding. Humanity hadn't just reached their breaking point, they had transformed it into a breakthrough point for the entire galaxy. 1 year after the Battle of Centauri Gateway, the Great Council Chamber had been transformed. Gone was the hierarchical arrangement that had placed older species above younger ones. In its place stood a circular forum where all representatives met as equals. Ambassador Chen stood at the center of the chamber, but this time she wasn't alone. Representatives from every major species in the galaxy surrounded her, ready to sign what would become known as the Human Accords, a new framework for galactic civilization. We stand here today, Chen began, not because of humanity's strength, but because of what we chose to do with that strength. The galaxy asked why we hid our capabilities for so long. The answer was simple: we were waiting to see who would treat us with respect before they knew we could destroy them. The archivist's hologram flickered to life, its presence now a symbol of historical witness rather than institutional authority. Statistical analysis complete. In the year since the Centauri Gateway incident, interspecies technological cooperation has increased by 300%. Conflict rates have decreased by 78%. Dr. Maya Patel, standing beside Chen, activated a holographic display showing the new quantum network that now connected willing species across the galaxy. This is humanity's true gift to the galaxy, not the technology itself, but the philosophy behind it. We advance together, or we don't advance at all. In orbit above Earth, the Prometheus had become a symbol of the new order. Admiral Wong and Commander Rivera hosted representatives from former enemy species, teaching them not just about human technology, but about human thinking. Your quantum neural integration, a young Crossan scientist asked, their crystalline form shimmering with excitement, could it be adapted for other species? That's exactly what we're here to find out, Rivera replied, leading them to a laboratory where humans and aliens worked side by side. Every species has unique capabilities. The trick isn't copying each other, it's learning how to complement each other. The Altaïran Collective, humanity's earliest allies, had already begun incorporating human quantum theories into their biological technology. The results were extraordinary: living ships that could perceive and navigate quantum states, healing technologies that could affect multiple dimensional planes simultaneously. In the quantum chamber aboard the Prometheus, Dr. Emily Chen worked with a diverse team of species, teaching them to understand the mental disciplines that humans had developed. The technology is just a tool, she explained. The real power comes from learning to see beyond what you think is possible. The former Supreme Commander Vexthal, now serving as the Crossan representative to the new council, had become an unexpected advocate for human methods. We thought their restraint was weakness, he admitted to the assembly. We didn't understand that choosing not to destroy your enemies requires far more strength than giving in to the temptation. But perhaps the most profound change was visible in how the galaxy's younger species were now treated. The human example had shown that age didn't equal wisdom, and technological advancement didn't have to follow a predetermined path. The greatest lesson humanity taught us, the archivist observed during the signing ceremony, was that true strength lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to know when not to. Their breaking point became the galaxy's turning point. Ambassador Chen, watching representatives from once hostile species sign the accords one by one, reflected on the journey that had brought them here. We never wanted to rule, she said to the assembly. We wanted to build something better. The galaxy feared we would become conquerors, never understanding that humans had already conquered our greatest enemy, the instinct to dominate rather than cooperate. The human accords established new principles for galactic civilization, mutual defense, technological cooperation, and respect for all sentient life regardless of their development stage. But more importantly, they enshrined the lesson that humanity had taught the galaxy, that true power comes not from capability, but from choice. As the ceremony concluded, Admiral Wong stood at the Prometheus's observation deck, watching ships from dozens of species moving peacefully through Earth's space. Commander Rivera joined him, carrying a data pad with reports from across the galaxy. The quantum network is evolving, she reported. Species are already building on our foundation, creating things we never imagined. We gave them the keys, and they're opening doors we didn't even know existed. Wong smiled. That's exactly what we hoped for. Humanity didn't reach its breaking point to break the galaxy, we reached it to break down the barriers between species. The archivist's final entry on the events would be studied by generations to come. The day humanity reached its breaking point marked not an ending, but a beginning. They showed the galaxy that evolution isn't just about survival, it's about choosing how to survive. In reaching their breaking point, humans didn't break at all. Instead, they broke through, and took the entire galaxy with them. As ships from 100 worlds jumped to quantum speed above Earth, their crews linked in peaceful cooperation through the human quantum network, the truth became clear: sometimes reaching a breaking point doesn't mean something has to break. Sometimes, it means breaking free of limitations you never needed in the first place. The galaxy had changed forever, not because humanity had finally shown its strength, but because they had shown there was a better way to use it. In the end, that was the greatest victory of all.